Hey, Jits, I hope you are doing well today. This is the first installment on our new series. Again, if you ever want to follow our series, you can go into the YouVersion Bible app and find it there. Winning the War in Your Mind. Just search it, Winning the War in Your Mind. It's a book that Craig Rochelle wrote, I don't know, maybe 2 years ago at this point. Uh, I take it back, maybe a year ago at this point because I had COVID. Yeah, so maybe a year ago because I have to remember I read it while in COVID, and so because I had COVID during that time, let's just say some of it's a little foggy. And so we were talking about our identity over the past couple weeks, and it just went to me. There was a natural transition into winning the war in your mind because a lot of times we struggle with what's in our mind because what's in our mind is what is our identity. And I love Craig Rochelle. He starts off this whole thing going, our lives are always moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts. What we think shapes who we are. And that's what we kind of talked about over the past few weeks about with our identity with Christ. You know, if you are constantly in your head saying you're a failure, you're not good enough, you can't do this, you can't do that, then that's what you're going to believe. I have to tell my son all the time, bless it, like, my son has this mentality that he can't do anything, and so therefore he doesn't do anything. And as a father, you understand my struggle because it's like, boy, if you don't start. Anyway, feel my blood pressure getting up, so I probably need to stop thinking about that. But anyway, it's he thinks that he can't do things, and so he just stops doing them. One of the most recent things, I I am a guy that loads making extra trips to the car, unloading the groceries. I have a 7-year-old son who should be able to help with taking the groceries in. Now, I'm not saying that he doesn't help, but like I said, I'm a one tripper. Like, this is going to happen in one trip. I don't know how I can need to lug 2 cases of water and 18 bags of groceries, but this is going to be a one trip. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And so my son gets over there and I start loading them down like, you need to carry some bags. And he looks at me and goes, "Dad, it's too heavy." And I'm like, "No, it's not." Like, I'm filling them. Like, in reality, we may have 5 pounds, like, maybe. And he's like, "Dad, it's too heavy. I can't do it." And I'm like, "Boy, if you don't start thinking that you can do stuff, me and you about to have some problems." Because I'm in the one trip mindset. But the thing is, he tells himself that it's too heavy and he can't do it. When both you and I know that them 5 pounds that he's got ain't that heavy and it ain't gonna kill him. And so I keep loading him up with more every time he says that. I'm like, "Oh, you feel like that's too heavy, so that means you need more." And it's kind of broken this little chain of, "Oh, I can't do it," because he's like, if I say I can't do it, then he's just gonna put more on me. And not saying anything might be how God works. Just saying. Anyway, I digress. Let's go back to the devotional. You might read that and think, talking about our lives move in the strongest direction, or move in the direction of our strongest thoughts. You might read that and think I'm being overly dramatic preacher using a hyperbole to get your attention, but this is no exaggeration, and we all completely understand that. Our lives do follow the direction of our thoughts. The better we grasp the truth, the better equipped we'll be to change the trajectory. Wow, I didn't realize I was struggling that word. Trajectory of our lives. But don't take my word for it. Both the Bible and modern science prove evidence that this is true. So throughout this Bible plan, we'll unpack both scripture and what we've learned from scientific research. Here's a brief example of both. In Philippians 4:8-9, the Apostle Paul writes, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you." In these three sentences, Paul moves from thought, thinking about such things, to action, put it into practice, to experience. The God of peace will be with you. Paul tells us that our thoughts shape our lives. In recent years, an entire discipline of modern psychology has developed called cognitive behavioral therapy. One of the people, and just give you a little side note if you want to know, um, kind of one of the leaders in this is Dr. Caroline Leaf. She has a podcast, it's really good. She also has an Instagram that she posts things on there a lot. It's really good. And she also has an app. Forgive me, I don't remember the app name. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't think of the app name. But her book that just, I shouldn't say just released, but it was recently released. I've been reading it, and it's a very powerful book, and it goes along with these same concepts that Pastor Craig Rochelle is writing it about here. She talks about the neural pathways and how your synapses, what you believe and how you think is how you act, and thus would be is your health. And she gets all into all the science stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you, it's a great book. If I had to look up some things because I didn't understand it, but it's a great book. I'm probably 3/4 of the way through it already. I'm one of those that like I have like 6 books going at the same time, so it takes me a little longer to get through books. But it's really good. I've been reading it for like 2-3 months now. And it's been phenomenal and opening up some things in me. So I highly suggest if you would look her book up. It goes significantly with this. Paul tells us that, sorry, excuse me, I already read that part. This breakthrough teaching reveals that many problems, from eating disorders to relational challenges, addictions, and even some forms of depression and anxiety, are rooted in faulty and negative patterns of thinking. So get this, Jesus knew 2,000 years ago that this is how our brains operate, and we're just now figuring this out. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to point that out. Treating those problems begins with changing your thinking. So to be able to treat eating disorders, relational challenges, addictions, some forms of depression. I will say some forms of depression, you need doctors. Like it's just a reality. And anxiety are all rooted in the way that we think. And we've got to change the way we think to get out of those things. If you're having problems with relationships, a lot of times it's because you've told yourself something or thought something, and it's become, I think back, I have kids, sorry. I think back in Riley in the movie, what's the movie called? Anyway, it's the one with the emotions where love, joy, or joy, disgust, fear, anger, they rule her mind, and she has these things called core memories. And the way that you approach some things sometimes is based on a core memory that you have within you. And what you've got to do is you've got to retrain yourself and retrain your mind and have your mind renewed. See, Jesus knew 2,000 years ago when he was saying all this stuff that this is what we were going to need. And we are just in a science community are just now figuring this out. But, you've got to renew your mind with the word. You've got to renew your mind with the promises that God has spoken over you. You got to renew your mind and exercise these neural pathways that have formed. And you've got to start creating new pathways. Anyway, like I said, I've read Dr. Caroline Leaf's book, and I've read this book, so I may be saying some things that you don't understand. Let me know if you don't understand them. Let me know. I love talking about these things because mental health is one of my favorite things. I told somebody the other day, I love mental health because I am a basket case and I need help. And so I love mental health because of that. And not only because of what I'm going through, what I have gone through, what things have set up in me, I've got to be able to combat those things. I can't I can't continually living the life that my mind tries to dictate. Because if I lived that, I would be in depression. I would be in anxiety. I would be a messed up person. But because of what Jesus did in my life and the salvation that he brought on the cross, I know I don't have to live that way. I know I don't have to live in the fear. I don't have to live in the anxiety. I don't have to live in the depression. I don't have to live in relational disorders. I don't have to live that way. You don't have to live that way. And that's one of the things why I want to go through this stuff with you guys, because I see so much fruit. See so much fruit in it. I don't know about you, but when the Bible and modern psychology say the same thing, I want to know more. What science is demonstrating today is what God told us through Solomon's almost 3,000 years ago. Hey, it's funny. I just said that. For as he thinks in his heart, so he is, in Proverbs 23:7. So if the Bible and modern science teach us that our lives are moving in the direction of our strongest thoughts, then we need to ask ourselves, do I like the direction my thoughts are taking me? If your answer is no, then maybe it's time to change your thinking. Maybe it's time to decide to change your mind so God can change your life. If you're skeptical, that's okay. Believe me, I get it. I was skeptical too. Like, I still am skeptical of a lot of science things and a lot of things. Like I told you, I'm into emotional health because sometimes people say some things and I'm just like, I don't really think so. Like, oh, that's not how that works. At least for me, that's not how that works. But I've also got to know that I've got a different mind than like a lot of people. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. I think differently than a lot of people. If you're skeptical, it's okay. We've all tried unsuccessfully to change bad habits and force our runaway trains of thought back onto the right tracks. But this time you're not alone. You are about to discover that God will team up with you to transform your thinking. And that's the thing. I want to team up with you. If you need somebody to call on a weekly basis, call me. If you need somebody to talk to on a daily basis, let me know. I'm right here for you. With God's help, you can transform your mind. You can stop believing the lies that hold you back. You can end the vicious cycle of thoughts that are destructive to you and others. You can allow God to renew your mind by saturating you with his unchanging truth. So I got a question for you guys. This lesson also has like a leadership side of it. Craig Rochelle is a huge leadership person, so I'm just going to go ahead and tell you he does like the whole gamut. Like he has the YouVersion Bible thing, and then he has like the leader guide and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not going to go through the leader guide. Like that's a little out of context than what we're talking about. It's more for like business leaders and things like that. But if you want it, it by all means, it's free. I can send it to you. But one of the questions within the leadership guide that I really liked, and I'm going to put it on the screen now. What's one area where you might need to challenge your thinking in order to grow, succeed, or see a perspective you might have missed? Answer that question. That's a question that it poses a little different when you put it in the context of what we're talking about. What's one area you might need to change your thinking? Do you need to change your thinking? Maybe you say you're fat all the time. Maybe you say that you are undisciplined. Maybe you say that and I'm not saying you might not be these things, but you say them to yourself often. You say that I'm this way and I cannot change, or I'm not going to change, or there's no way to change. See, the thing is, those are your strongest thoughts, and that is the direction that you're going to move. You're going to move into complacency when you say, oh, I'm fat. Just throwing this out there. I say this often. I am a little guy and I'm getting bigger, and it's not the tall wise. That's all I'm going to say. And so I say this often, but here's the thing. If I continually think that and say that, then I will continually live in a pattern that I am fat. I like food. Just saying. I like food. I like eating. I like coffee. I like all the things that are probably super unhealthy for you. I like them. Sweets, not so much. I mean, I like sweets, but it's got to be the right kind of sweet. So I, because I say that often, my mind will tend to think that that is an unchangeable thing. But we all know that that's changeable. I can go and sit there and go work out, change my eating habits. I could change a whole lot of things, but because my mind has already established itself into that concept, it's harder for me to be able to create new disciplines. And the thing is, like, I'm not saying that you need to go out and change your life, and once you change your life after this, your life's gonna be perfect. No, that's not how this works. Like, we all know, and we have all been down that road, that it if we try to create this super change, it doesn't stick. We've all experienced that. We all started a diet and it doesn't work. We've all started to go to work out at the beginning of the year, and by February you're not doing it anymore. Maybe by the mid of January you're not doing it anymore. But we've all done those things. But here's the thing. What's one thing? It's a simple thing. It could be a very, very, very simple thing that you need to change the way you think. So instead of saying that I'm fat, which a lot of you guys would sit there and say, Shane, you're really not that fat. Like you're really not. But I am a bigger guy, and I am getting a gut. I'm getting older, and it's getting bigger. And so instead of saying that I'm fat, I need to start telling myself that I'm going to be disciplined and work out, or I'm going to work out. I'm going to do, I don't know, 20 minutes. I don't know. I'm making up something here. I'm going to do 20 minutes of Apple Fitness, and that's what I want to do every day. Or maybe not even 20 minutes. I'm going to do 10 minutes of Apple Fitness every day. And then you start sitting there and going, okay, well, how am I going to fit that in my day? Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. How am I going to fit that in my day? Well, here's the thing. 10 minutes isn't really that long. I could do it over lunch. In 10 minutes, I'm probably not going to get that sweaty, because I'm one of those, like, if I get sweaty, I'm going to shower. And that is one of the reasons why I don't work out, because I'm like, if I go work out, I've got to allot an hour and a half for that whole thing. Like, I've got to drive to the gym. That's 15 minutes or so. I've got to work out, do cardio for 30 minutes. I've got to do strength training for another 25. I've got to do cool down. Then I've got to shower or drive back and then shower. I don't do public showers very well. I'm just going to be honest. I got to drive back. Then I've got to shower. Then I've got to change clothes. And now I've got double clothes. And then that means I got to do double on. My mind sees all that. It does. And that's why I don't go work out. That's why I keep perpetuating, because I see the whole long thing. But I keep that on the forefront of my mind. But here's the thing. If I start changing my mind by one simple decision and say, oh, I want to work out for 10 minutes here at the house doing Apple Fitness. Well, that's low impact. But if I continue to do Apple Fitness, 10 minutes will change to 20 minutes, or 15 minutes to 20 minutes to 30 minutes. To maybe I need to really look at going to the gym, because this isn't like I've reached the plateau of this. Or maybe I need to pick up some weights, because I need to start adding weights to what I'm doing with the Apple Fitness. Maybe I need to pick up some resistance bands. I don't know. I'm making up stuff now. But see, those simple things, that one little simple thought, that one little simple thing that I changed, put me on a pathway to see major change later down the road. And what it does is these they call them micro habits. Micro habits turn into something that is a full-fledged identity change. So I see myself as fat now. And if I create this micro habit of just working out for 10 minutes or maybe walking around the block, then this micro habit will start changing how I think. And my mind will start saying, Shane, you're getting fit. You're being fit. You are fit. You're getting fit. Your body matters. You matter. See how that one little micro habit started changing all those things? And I loved how he put it. What is one thing that you want to do to change? Let's read Philippians 4:8. I think it's 8 and 9. Yeah, Philippians 4:8 through 9. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. You want to know how to get out of depression and anxiety? Right here. If anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. You want to get out of the slump attitude that you have? Think of things that are praiseworthy. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put it into practice. And the God of peace will be with you. And this is Paul saying this. Proverbs 23:7. For he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cost. Eat and drink, he says to you. What? But his heart is not with you. Oh, okay. They're emphasizing. Sorry, I was like, what? This verse doesn't make any sense. For he is the kind of person who is always thinking about the cost. Therefore, Romans 12:1 through 3. Yeah. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We talked about renewing earlier. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. For though we live in the world, this is 2 Corinthians 10:3, 3, 4, and 5. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. Sorry about that. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. See, the thing is, when you start changing the way you think, Satan's going to come against you. Like, let's just be honest. He does not want you to move from this place that you're at. He doesn't want you to move from your depression. He doesn't want you to move from your anxiety. He doesn't want you to move from your fear. Because if you start moving from those things, then he knows you'll see the faithfulness of God. And when you start seeing the faithfulness of God in your life and you see the peace that surpasses all understanding, like we read 2 verses ago, and the peace of God will be with you. Once you start seeing that, he knows he's lost. He knows that you're not going to be able to get enough of that. You're going to keep going down that path. You're going to keep going where God's peace is. And it all is through simple, very, very simple micro habits. See, I think we oftentimes go, Shane, I can't change my mind. I can't like doing the stuff that you're talking about. That's not what I can do. But when you start thinking about it, no, let's just do something real simple. Let's do something that's not complicated at all. Let's do something that's easy, that we all can do. It's low impact. Once you start seeing those things, and you start seeing what God's going to do through those things, and you start seeing yourself the way God made you. Because like I said, that micro habit, let's go back to it real fast. I said, let me work out for 10 minutes today. Couple of weeks, I'll be up to 15 minutes. Probably by the end of the week. Like, I'm one of those, like, I'm all in. I'm not a partial person. But I've got to make it low impact for me to actually start doing it. So I start with 10 minutes. And then it goes to 15. And then it goes to 20. And then it goes to 30. 45. And then I'm at the place where I need weights. And then I'm at the place where I want to get some weights, some resistance bands. I don't know. I'm making up something here. But then I start seeing what's happening to my body, and I start feeling what the dopamine release and all that's taking place within my mind through working out. And God starts going, see, you're not fat. That's something that you told yourself that's a lie. That's not who you are. That's not who I made you to be. And then you start going, okay, well, what else is in me that God didn't put there, but that I put there? Or maybe somebody else spoke it over me. God starts showing you these things in that process. And it all started off with a micro habit that you just decided to start doing. Who cares, like, if your micro habit is, Craig Rochelle uses the example of flossing his teeth. He hated flossing his teeth. The micro habit he did was he set the floss right there beside his toothbrush and had it ready for when he went to bed at night. And that micro habit started going, okay, maybe I am a disciplined person. Maybe I am. And it starts changing your thought process and changing who you are. All from a micro habit that you institute. What's the one thing that you need to change? That you can start being able to winning the war in your mind. Because there's always a war. Satan's always coming against us. There's always something. Because he doesn't want you to move from where you're at. Because if you move from where you're at, then, like we said, the peace of God will start being upon you. Because you're going to start thinking of those things that are praiseworthy, trustworthy, and whole. Guys, I'm super passionate about it because I've lived it out. I ride the ups and downs. I do all of it. And I know I've seen where God does things when things change. You may be saying, like, I can hear somebody saying, yeah, Shane, God loves me no matter what, and I've got faith. But here's one of the things that I want to say. Faith without works is dead. That's what it says. You can have faith all day. But if you're not putting works and actions behind it, it's just something that you say. And that's hard. That's a hard truth. And that's what we've got to do in our minds. We've got to put the hard work in behind it. It's hard work. It's not easy work. Because if it was easy work, we'd have a whole bunch of emotionally healthy people running around. And I can point to most everybody who's not emotionally healthy. It's the truth. It's because we've grown up in a society that it's messed up. And that's okay. Like, society can be messed up, but you don't have to be. If you want to live in a life of peace, think of the one thing that you can change today or start today. Maybe it's you need to write it on your mirror. I've got written on my mirror, you are anointed and you are called. Because I know God's anointed me. I know he's called me. And I've got to look at that some days. Some days I don't look at it enough. I'm just going to be honest. But I've got to look at that and remind myself of that. And it's funny that I've written that on my mirror. I've had several instances where God's anointing in conversation has been brought up. Because I am moving in the direction of my strongest thought. And my strongest thought is I am anointed and I am called. I've got to tell myself that daily. It hasn't taken root yet. I'm going to be honest with you. It hasn't taken root. But I'm going to keep saying it. Because I know that's what God spoke. I've got to get it from here to here. And whatever you're going through, I use the illustration of being fat. Like, that's just an illustration. But that could be changed with depression, anxiety, fear, anger, relational anxiety, relational issues. That example can be changed with any of those. You can change one simple thing today that will change your life in the future. And it requires hard work because the enemy is going to be coming against you. Because he doesn't want you to change because he knows the promises that God has spoken to you for when you do change. Guys, I love you. Today has been a great lesson. I love it. If you want the leadership stuff, I would be glad to send that over to you. I got it for free when the book came out. It's literally just sat on my computer, so it was free, and so therefore it's free to you. But I love you guys, and I hope you know that changing little things can equal big things later down the road. Let us know. Share this if this is impactful to you. Share this. Let me know how this is impacting you. I would love to have a conversation. Hear your story. Most of all, hear your story. We've set up a new thing called meet.onlyone.church, and that is just a place where we can meet. It's a place where you can meet other people that are part of this online movement of churches, or churches. We're saying churches because the way that we operate is we have micro churches. You guys and me, we're a micro church. I love spending time with you guys. I hope that you love spending time with me, but we are a community of believers that are family. And so if you want to join in there, you're more than welcome to. It's open. We put specific content, different content on there all the time. And we love hearing your story. We love hearing from you. And if this has blessed you, share it. We'll retweet it, share it, whatever it is. Whatever you say, we'll put you out there. And so we love you guys. And I pray that this touches you and that you'll change one thing today. Love you guys.